Hey y'all, I am going to do a video of the solutions to the homework for homework 2, 3, and 4. So this is homework 2. And we are completing 8.1, number 1 and 2. Number 8.2, number 7. And from the supplementary learning exercises, we're doing numbers 1 and 7. Okay, so number 1, 4 out of 5 dentists interviewed recommend yucky gum. So 4 out of 5 dentists recommend yucky gum. Okay, so if I'm going to represent a picture here, 4 out of 5 dentists. So I need 5 total items in my picture, and 4 of those are going to be dentists that recommend. So we're going to do 4 recommends. And then the other doctor must not recommend. So 1 not. So there's my picture. Then for part A, it says among those interviewed, what is the ratio of those who recommend to those that do not? So I'm doing recommend to not, which is 4 to 1. Okay, and if you wrote it this way, that was fine as well. Part B, among those interviewed, there are blank times as many dentists who do not recommend as do recommend. So what fraction here? So not recommend would be 1, and do recommend in my picture would be 4. And then letter C, what fraction of the dentist interviewed recommend yucky gum? So that is what fraction of the dentists, so that's total, recommend. So recommend on the top. So that's the 4 out of 5. Okay. Number 2. In Mensville, for every 3 women, there are 4 men. And so my picture would look like woman, 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 man, 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 man. Okay. And then we're going to answer the question. So A, what is the ratio of men to women? So men to women would be 4 over 3. Part B, the number of women is blank times the number of men. They're asking you to go with the fraction of women to the fraction of men. So that would be 3 over 4. Letter C, the number of men is blank times the number of women. So they flip the 2 things. So they want the fraction of men to women. So that would be 4 over 3. Letter D, women make up what fraction of the total population? So now we want women over total. So we want 3 out of 7. And for letter E, what fraction of the total population of Mensville are men? So they want men out of the total. So that would be 4 out of 7. All right. So again, here's our solutions. Okay. All right. So those were kind of our first level of questions. And then we get into a lot of the chocolate bar questions. So let's start with number 7 from 8.2. So let me jump over in the text. Okay, so number 7, letter A, Al ate 4/5 as much as Babs ate. So Al is 4/5 to Babs. And you can either do this with boxes or with letters. It doesn't really matter. But Al has 4 and Babs has 5. So let's do boxes to be consistent. That's a total of 9. And so we have 4 Al and 5 Babs. Now it does ask you make a drawing, which we did, and give your reasoning, and finding the fraction of the bar of each person ate. So we can see this right from the picture. So Al is 4 out of 9, and Babs is 5 out of 9. Moving on to letter B. Cameron ate 4/5 of the bar. So the 4/5 is Cameron to the whole bar, and Don ate the rest. So I'm going to take my bar and divide it into 5 pieces because it says the bar is out of 5. And then Cameron gets 4 and Don ate the rest. And that means that Cam has 4 out of 5 and Don has 1 out of 5. Letter C. Emily ate 3 times as much as Fran. So 3, it would be 3 over 1, and that's Emily to Fran. And so Emily gets 3 and Fran gets 1 for a total of 4 pieces. So Emily, 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 Fran. So Emily is 3/4 and Fran is 1/4. In D, things get kind of taken up a notch. So Gay ate 1/2 as much as Haley. So 1/2 Gay to Haley. But 3 times as much as Ida. So that is Gay to Ida. And that was 3 times. So 3 over 1. Okay, now notice that Gay has 1 in the first ratio and 3 in the second. So what we want to do here is we want to make those the same. So I'm going to make this 3 over 6, Gay to Haley. And then I still have 3 to 1, Gay to Ida. And that way, when I set up my bar, I now have 3 for Gay, 6 for Haley, and 1 for Ida. So I have 10 pieces. I know in class I showed this using a more standard tape diagram, which you can do as well. Thought I'd do it chocolate bar this way. So Gay then gets 3, Ida gets 1, and Haley gets 6. So that means that Gay gets 3 out of 10, Ida has 1 out of 10, and Haley has 6 out of 10. For letter E. Judy ate 2/3 of the bar. So 2/3 of the bar is Judy. And Keisha ate twice as much as Lanny. So 2 to 1 would be Keisha to Lanny. Okay, so I'm going to start out with the bar. And I'm going to cut it into thirds. Notice I made mine a little deeper this time. So this is going to be J. Judy's going to get the first 2. And then we have this third one, and we've got to give 2 pieces to Keisha and 1 to Lonnie. So I'm going to go ahead, whoops, sorry about that, and cut this into thirds horizontally. That way I can go 2 to Keisha and 1 to Lonnie. And that way, Lonnie now has 1 out of 9. Keisha has 2 out of 9. And Judy has 6 out of 9, which does reduce to the 2/3 we know she's supposed to have. Okay, F. Mick and Nick each eat a quarter. So Mick is 1 to the bars 4. Nick is 1 to the bars 4. And then Ollie ate half as much as Pete. So Ollie is half of Pete. So again, I'm going to make this one a deep one because I'm talking mixing numbers about the bar with ratios of people. And that doesn't always work together. So we may need to cut it horizontally again. And so we're going to cut this into fourths. And let's give Mick the first piece. And Nick can have the second piece. And then we need to give Ollie 1 for every 2 we give to Pete. So that means I need a multiple of 3 there so that I can give away 3 boxes. So I only have 2 to work with now, so I'm going to cut it into thirds. And then in each column, I'm going to give 1 to Ollie and 2 to Pete. 1 to Ollie, 2 to Pete. And then Mick, we get the 3 out of 12, which reduces to the 1/4. Nick is the same 3 out of 12, which reduces to 1/4. Ollie now has 2 out of 12, which if you want to reduce is 1/6. And Pete is 4 out of 12, or 1/3. And that wraps up number 7. So then we want to go to the supplementary learning exercises. Number 1. And we're given a picture and asked to identify ratios. So, let's see, A. What is the ratio of A's share to B's share? So I'm doing A to B, and I see 5 A's and 3 B's. Then, what part of the pan did A get? So it's A to the pan. So the whole pan, it's 3 by 4, so that's 12. And A got 5, so 5 out of 12. Letter C, A's share is blank as large as B's share. So you're doing A compared to B. And so again, that's 5 for A and 3 for B. Letter D, B shares blank as large as A. So now we're comparing B to A. So we get 3 for B and 5 for A. For E, now we want A and B together. So A and B compared to D. So A and B together, I have 5 A's and 3 B's. That's 8 total. And D is just 1. In letter F, we want A and B together and compared to C and D together. So A and B together we see is 8. C and D together is 4, which then reduces to 2. And letter G, ratio of the total of A's and B's, so A plus B, over C's and D's. So again, that's 8 over 4, which reduces to 2 again. Or you can go 8 to 4, which reduces to 2 to 1. Any of those are totally fine. All right, and those are my answers, just to make it a little bit easier to look at. Okay, and then lastly was number 7 on the supplementary learning exercises. And we have 3 here. So part A, we have 2/3 compares Tom and Ulysses. So that means Tom gets 2 boxes. Ulysses gets 3 for a total of 5 boxes. So Tom, Tom, Ulysses, Ulysses, Ulysses. And that means that Tom gets 2 out of 5 and Ulysses gets 3 out of 5. And letter B, Vicky ate 3/4 as much as Willie. So 3/4 is Vicky to Willie. Who ate half as much as Xavier? So half compares Willie to Xavier. Now notice here again that my W appears in both ratios, but it's different values. So I'm going to keep the first one, and I'm going to change the second one to also be a 4. But if I multiply the top of that fraction by 4, I multiply by the bottom of that fraction by 4. And so I end up with 3 for Vicky, 4 for Willie, and 8 for Xavier. So that's going to give me a total of 15 boxes. So we get Vicky, 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 Willie, 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 and the rest should be Xavier. And that gives Victoria 3 out of 15. Sorry, Vicky, 3 out of 15. Willie is 4 out of 15. And Xavier is 8 out of 15. And then lastly, Yolanda had 1/3 of the bar for part C. So that's Yolanda to the bar. Zeb ate 3/4 of what's left. 3/4 of what was left goes to Zeb. And Arnie gets the rest. Okay, so I'm going to, again, these are organized differently. So I'm going to start with a big bar and draw 1/3 of it for Yolanda. Now, when I look at what's left, I have 2 boxes that are left, and I want to turn that into 4 boxes. So I'm going to divide everything by 2, and I'm going to divide mine horizontally. And then 3 of those go to Zeb. And then the last one goes to Arnie. And that means that Yolanda has 2 out of 6, which is the 1/3 that we knew about. Zeb gets 3 out of 6, which is actually 1/2 of the bar. And Arnie gets 1 out of 6. And those are the solutions for homework number 2.